Hi and welcome back to another video. For everybody who watched my previous two videos on Le Mans Ultimate, thank you very much. I wasn't expecting that many people to view, comment, like and subscribe. It's truly appreciated, so from the bottom of my heart, thank you. For everybody watching this video who hasn't done any of those things yet, feel free to like, share, subscribe, but most importantly, comment along. I would really like to hear your views. For those who've been watching, you know that right now I am in love with Le Mans Ultimate ever since Studio 397 released the patch on the 24th of September, allowing us in VR to finally be able to race online. In this video, I'm going to dig a little deeper into what I'm enjoying about Le Mans Ultimate. However, I'm also going to take care of something that a few people have mentioned in the comments. In every video thus far, I've mentioned how I'm comparing the visual experience in Le Mans Ultimate in VR to that of Automobilista 2 and Assetto Corsa, using Automobilista 2 as the benchmark. So, as some have asked, it's about time I did the head-to-head, right? How does Le Mans Ultimate in VR, now that we have this interim patch, this interim update that allows us to actually appreciate the VR a little bit more, compared to the bells and whistles of Automobilista 2 and its vaulted status for most people, well, most people who've commented on my videos, as the benchmark for VR when it comes to sim racing. Spoiler alert, for those who do not want to know, I'm going to tell you straight off the bat my opinion on how Le Mans Ultimate in the most recent update compares to Automobilista 2 when it comes to VR. If you don't want to know my opinion, skip ahead. I'll leave a timestamp for when it's safe to take your fingers out of the ears, to open your eyes, or to come from behind the sofa. Okay, is the coast clear? I'm assuming that everybody still listening right now wants to know the answer. Well, I can't believe I'm saying this. Le Mans Ultimate has absolutely ruined Automobilista 2 for me. And when I say ruined, I mean ruined. You know, it's like growing up only ever having tasted bird's eye custard. You know what I mean, the powdered one in the sachets made of boiling hot water. And then one day, someone serves you that Madagascan vanilla pod custard and your taste buds scream out, "This is what we've been waiting for." Okay, let me calm down a little bit and explain what I mean. Automobilista 2 is still possibly the best off-the-shelf VR experience, as in everything just works. You can tell that the game was designed from inception with VR as a feature. The menu works, the UI works, you can actually just look at sections of the menu and it will select what you're looking at for you. Everything just works. There's no tweaking required, there's no command codes required, there's no going into the INI file required. It just works out of the box. And then when it comes to the visuals, they're just clean, crisp, they're pristine. The VR experience visually in Automobilista 2 is still exceptional. However, if you watch any of my videos where I compared Assetto Corsa Competizione, Assetto Corsa, R-Factor 2 and Automobilista 2, you'll know that I said it's the complete package. It's not just the visuals, it's the sound, it's the tactile feedback that comes back through the physics engine, through the force feedback. If one of those elements is off, the entire experience can be ruined. And that is where Le Mans Ultimate has ruined Automobilista 2 for me forever. Because when it comes to the driving experience in Automobilista 2, having spent the last 7 days pounding out the laps in Le Mans Ultimate, experience that amazing force feedback, which is very similar to what we've become accustomed to in R-Factor 2. The force feedback, even with some of the modifications that I tried, is just incomparable. The Automobilista 2 sensation when it comes to driving is arcadey when it compares to Le Mans Ultimate. It really does not have that sophisticated element of feeling when the tires are locking, feeling the circuit beneath you, feeling the inertia of the car. It's just a very meh bland, vanilla experience when comparing it to the rich sensations that you get from Le Mans Ultimate. Then when you consider this is just the interim VR solution for Le Mans Ultimate, this is not the official support that Studio 397 want to release. And already the visuals of the car interior are exceptional. They truly are the best out of all of the titles that I've raced in 2024. And whilst outside the cockpit might not have the pristine polish of Automobilista 2, it works because the circuits are the most accurate circuits of any game in 2024. Mirror that with the fact that Studio 397 fixed or introduced anti-aliasing with the 24th September update. The external views outside the cockpit no longer have that horrible aliasing that we had when first attempting to try VR in Le Mans Ultimate. So whilst it might not be 100% perfect, once you add the sensation of driving, the accuracy of the circuits, and the fact that the visuals inside the cockpit are amazing, what you see outside the cockpit at 90%, 95%, that'll do for me. It averages in the high 90s and makes it a much better driving experience for me than Automobilista 2. Honestly, it's ruined. I'm not sure I could turn another lap in Automobilista 2 now, because the car drives like a Mario Kart. It drives like you've gone to an arcade, and it just does not feel rewarding. And this is after I've spent quite some time tweaking the force feedback with some of the profiles I found online to improve it from the stock force feedback that you had in Automobilista 2. And at the time, when I was comparing it to Assetto Corsa Competizione, to R Factor 2, to Assetto Corsa, it made it tolerable. It made it edge the other games because its visuals were so good. Whereas now, I'm ruined. But don't just take my word for it. Let me show you. This is Automobilista 2, and back when I was doing my original videos earlier in the year, this was the visuals that impressed me so much. And now that it's been commented by a few people on my previous videos, I look at it and I see the cartoonish element that they were describing. Whilst everything is clean and in VR it looks much better than what you see on the screen, the driver details are amazing. The textures on the gloves, on the overalls, they're brilliant. And everything inside the cockpit is nice and polished and clean and crisp. And the fact that you have those extra little details like the wires on the cameras vibrating as the car drives along, it gives you a nice sense of immersion. However, when looking at the steering wheel now compared to the steering wheel that we have in Le Mans Ultimate, it looks a little too vibrant. And you can probably tell from the footage, the driving experience is, it's lacking. There's no sense that I will lose control of the car if I raggedly overdrive the car. I can obviously spin out if I don't catch it, but you can just floor it out of every corner. The back will slide, it'll step out, but it doesn't feel as though you're driving along in a hypercar, in an LMDH. It doesn't feel as though you have real rubber on the road. It really is a lacking experience. And again, this is that recency bias I spoke about in my last video, because I've spent the last 7 days absolutely thraping the laps in Le Mans Ultimate. The driving experience is so intuitive, it's visceral. It gives you so much feedback that you can drive on your instincts. And because you're driving on your instincts, the rewards when you do something well are so much more than anything you can get in Automobilista 2, because the driving experience feels cheapened. And that is a criticism you can in no way table at Le Mans Ultimate. The driving experience is rich, it's enhanced, and I defy anybody who has driven every one of these sims, including iRacing, in the last 12 months, who is 100% honest with themselves. I defy them to say anything other than the driving experience in Le Mans Ultimate beats them all. And whereas Automobilista 2 is so forgiving, you can be lazy with your controls on the car. You can overdrive it, you can slide the car around, and it makes no difference. In Le Mans Ultimate, nothing could be further from the truth, especially when it comes to the hypercars. If you don't warm up your tires, if you don't brake carefully at the end of a long straight, you can very quickly find yourself going backwards into the apex because you snatched one of the tires. And whereas in Automobilista 2, you can just heavy metal throttle it and slam your foot to the floor with very little consequence, do that in Le Mans Ultimate, and again, say hello to the sand trap, say hello to a wall, and most definitely say goodbye to any life that you had in your tires. And it isn't only when applying the power or braking when you may damage your tires, get in those veritable flat spots that will ruin your race. You can flat spot your tires going through a high-speed turn by cranking in too much steering lock. Let me say that again. You can flat spot your tires by putting in too much steering angle, too much lock, and scrubbing your tires at high speed through a medium to high speed turn. Any other sim, well, any modern sim that does that. To say that maybe Live for Speed did that, and Netcar Pro, so Assetto Corsa as well. And who knows, maybe Assetto Corsa Competizione does something similar. I've just never been good enough to put that much stress on the front tyres. And whilst I'm waxing lyrical about how good Le Mans Ultimate is and how the 24th of September brought a new era for us VR racers, I'm also saddened by the fact that the news around Studio 397 and motorsports games is so bleak. At the moment, just as we've been given an opportunity to experience some of the best online racing, we're staring into an abysmal black hole of despair where we have no idea, no confidence that the full-featured Le Mans Ultimate will ever see the light of day, not unless some other company buys up Studio 397 and finishes the project and brings us the sim that was promised when we first saw that initial trailer, when we first read the news that Studio 397 were going to bring out the successor to rFactor 2 and they were going to blow our minds. As melancholic as that uncertainty leaves us, and for all of you who are sitting on the sidelines wondering whether you should even bother buying the early access, whether you should even bother getting on track to trying this, I say do it. For £29, for £30, whatever the price is now in your region, you can get online and experience some of the best racing whilst it lasts. That is less than any AAA game that's getting released before Christmas. And again, for the last 7 days, I've raced nothing but Le Mans Ultimate. I've not given Assetto Corsa Competizione a second thought, and I've had the most fun on track that I've had all year. Now I've probably done 15 or maybe 20 fixed races in the GTE class. I've cranked up something like 45 to 50 hours in online racing in Le Mans Ultimate in the last 7 days. That's ridiculous. You consider most of us wouldn't even hesitate to spend 50 to 60, maybe even £65 on a AAA game that promises us nothing more than maybe 20 to 25 hours of gameplay. When you consider you can spend less and get an unpolished early access version of Le Mans Ultimate and get online, yes, it has some bugs still, yes, it has some issues, but you could be experiencing some of the greatest sim racing of your life. Anyway, I was going to stop telling you what I thought, whether I liked Le Mans Ultimate in VR much more now than Automobilista 2. I don't think I gave anybody with their fingers in their ears and their eyes closed a chance to come back. Anyway, like, comment, subscribe, share. I'll see you in the next one.